Hey everybody, today in the shop I've got one of my favorite cars that comes in nowadays. It's a 2025 Audi RS5 and I'm going to be installing a Valentine radar detector and mounting that up by the mirror. So let's get into it. Okay, so the best I can tell, all the panels, the fuse panels that are up front have constant power for quite a while when the key's off. And the auxiliary port here, the cigarette lighter port, has switched power, but it comes all the way from the back of the car. So I'm going to pull that socket out and tap into that. I'm going to use this puller here, and it's got a couple of notches on the side that are lined up with the top and bottom here. So we'll give that a go. And remove the lower panel by the left foot over here. So it looks like just one screw up in that recessed hole. And then I'm going to remove the foam panel up here. Looks like just a couple of push clips. One there and one over here. So I'm going to remove those clips, those two panels. And I'll go ahead and pop off this side panel here on the side of the dash. Okay, so here's what's in the kit. This radar was in another Audi. My customer used to have it in an S4. And anyway, the wiring on this with the power and ground supply comes with this little assembly here. I'm going to have to extend the wires so that it'll reach over to the 12-volt cigarette lighter port that I'm going to tap into, and I'm going to run these wires to where they'll come up into the side of the dash here, so the fuse and that connection will be here in case he has any issues. He can access it easily. And I'll just do that with some standard butt connectors. It's on the interior of the car, so it won't have to have anything sealed. And it does come with this kind of Scotch lock connector here, and I've seen so many problems with those, I won't be using that. But I'll get these wires extended and bring in for the connection on that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just push some wire through the hole here for the 12-volt socket. And I'll bring that down through the bottom on the side here and run it up on top of the lower panel over here. And I'll just zip tie that along. Make sure it doesn't rub on anything, and I'm going to bring it up through the holes down here on the side, and just have that mounted up in here. Okay, so Volkswagen Audi wires, most of the time brown is going to be ground, which is the case here as well. And so I'll just check here. I've got power, and that goes off with the key. And what I decided to do is just run the power wire to that, and I'll go ahead and grab the ground from where I put my test light on this stud over here. I'll clean that up a little, rough it up to make a good connection, but I'll use that as a ground. Okay, I'll go ahead and cut this white and purple wire here. I'm going to try these new Icon pliers I got, actually from Harbor Freight. Stripping pliers. Not too bad. Yeah, those work well in that situation. So what I'm going to do here is just I'm just going to twist these wires together, and I'll use a little bit bigger butt connector, the blue one, and I'm going to crimp them both in on one side and then just crimp the other side of the butt connector to the plug here. Okay, so I've got 2 wires going into one side of that butt connector there, and then I'll just connect the other side back. Not a lot of room. There's not a lot of room in there, so it makes it a little hard to show some of this on the camera, I know. Hold this wire right there. And the socket should just snap back into place. Just like that. And I'll go ahead and make this wire nice and neat on the bottom down here. Like I said, I'm just going to zip tie that up along the way. Make sure it can't rub on anything or get caught up. Okay, and I'll just show that I just zip tied the wire that I'm running along some of the other wires and harnesses that are under the dash already. And I'll go ahead and trim these cable tie or zip ties off. On the ground side here, I'm just going to put this eyelet connector on. I'm actually going to go ahead and cut this red wire down a little. And I'm going to install a butt connector on that. And in the door jamb here. I decided just to go ahead and over that stud here, I should be able to put that eyelet on there, and I've got a nylon lock nut for that. Yeah, go ahead and tighten this nut up here. I'm using a nylon lock nut. Should make a good ground connection, and go ahead and crimp this butt connector down on the power side to the wire we ran out of the 12-volt socket. And I'm going to go ahead and double check that I've got a good power and ground here before I tighten that up. So, and as I get the cable tucked up above the headliner, I'm going to keep this side here pretty tight by the mirror, and then all of the excess I'm just going to pull down through this A-pillar. And I'll get that tucked in there and snap the A-pillar back into place. Okay, so I just zip tied the excess of cable together up there and tied it into the part of the body frame here or whatever. And now the fuse is right here and the connection's there, so easy to access for later just in case anything happens. And I'll snap that piece of trim back on and the cover over the side of the dash and go towards the mirror mount. I'll go ahead and pop these suction cups out of this part of the mount. Go ahead and remove these screws, little bolts. Go ahead and pull this mount apart here. Okay, and this guy's gonna go on like that. Okay, get these snugged up. So, and here are the instructions that come with the mount kit. And you got to pull this mount pretty much all the way apart. Flat washer and lock washer in there. So I've got this part of the mount put together, the metal bracket here on the top attached to the plastic one on the bottom here, and then we've got these couple of pieces. This one's recessed, if you can see it right here, and that'll line up with this part of the mount. Slides in like that, and that's slotted right here, so you can get some vertical adjustment up and down here. And this part has some notches on the bottom, or the inside I'll say. So I'll slide that over here and put those two bolts in. I'm going to leave these a little loose so that I can make the adjustment, or check the adjustment. And these bolts have a flat washer and a small lock washer. So it should look like that. Like I say, I'll leave these a little loose, and that way I can check the adjustment and tighten it up after it looks right on the car. So this piece can go up and down now. Okay, so I'm going to put this part of the mount onto the radar now. And it's just got a couple of fins down here that'll slide into a couple of grooves, or a groove on each side of the radar. And that'll just slide onto there. Okay, and then this part here I'm going to go ahead and mount onto the mirror. And then it's going to go onto those two screw holes here on the side. About like that, and you'll be able to adjust it, you know, kind of up and down like that. So I'll get that installed and show you what that looks like. So there's actually a ton of adjustability on this whole mount assembly. You know, this piece here can go up and down, and the piece that mounts actually to the mirror is slotted here. So once that's on there, you'll be able to turn it kind of left and right onto that. And then again, it's slotted back here so that when it's mounted, you can go up and down here. So kind of preference. These pieces are a little small and going to be hard to see on the camera, but I just want to show you while I've got it out here. There's a long screw and a short screw. This short screw here will hold these two pieces together. That one goes towards the front of the vehicle, and that's where that adjustment's made for the kind of left and right on that. But I'm going to leave that a little loose for now, and the other part of the mount is just going to go on top of the mirror shaft, and those will go together like that, and then tighten up the long screw that'll go through this other hole towards the back of the vehicle. So I've got that mounting part mounted up to the shaft on the mirror there, and you can see how that'll turn now, left and right. So I'm going to go ahead and angle it towards the driver and snug that up. And I'll go ahead and mount the radar up to the bracket here. Two little bolts. And you'll be able to see how the adjustment's made there. Okay, so now you can get that level. Okay, about the last thing I did was use one more zip tie to hold the power cable to the mirror mount assembly. And we'll go ahead and turn it on one time. And that's about all for the install on the Valentine radar and mirror mount assembly on this 2025 Audi RS5. I hope it helps. Thanks for watching.